Okay. Check, check. Mic check. Just checking with audio levels. Sanity check. We are here on a glorious Wednesday evening for another Ago's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers one-shot special. This particular one-shot happens to be everyone's favorite Black Ranger, Terry. So I assume everyone can hear me, at least. But yeah, little head of a preface. So I'm going to explain character one-shots. To those that have been following my campaign, we're 3 years going on 4 years strong. About halfway done with the season I have planned. About a quarter of the way through the story, I had this idea to allow some of my characters the ability to reveal a little bit of their backstory in the form of a one-shot adventure. If anyone hasn't seen, I have done one. It would be our Red Ranger. He had his one-shot. We did that, I think, a year and a half ago. So it's going to be a year and a half until you see the next one after this. Just kidding. That's a joke. Hopefully the next round of one-shots will come a lot quicker.
But you won't see it till next year.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. You won't see it until next year. Can confirm. And that, hopefully you heard him on the mic, which you should have, is my stream guest tonight, Terry, our Black Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. So tonight is his character one-shot. As I was saying, the one-shots are just a small snippet of a character's backstory, their lore. Each are different, tailored to the story each individual ranger wants to tell. So again, to give you a little bit about Terry, let's just say he's the backbone, the spine, the fists that bubble of the Power Rangers. He is Pit Viper Kai, currently waiting to have a date with Scorpina. He's helped the Rangers out in numerous jams. He's gotten them into at least two himself. All in all, he's a very skilled martial artist. Angel Grove's definitely like top 10 eligible bachelors for sure. You know him as the super senior. Throws parties, I'd say like once every 6 to 5 episodes. Who's to say what's going to happen tonight? But that's just a little bit of about Terry. So again, all the one shots, they're very, I want to choose my words carefully. They're confined to the past. So this story takes place prior to him being an actual ranger. So in essence, it's a level 1 character tonight's episode. So it's not revealing everything in its entirety about his past, but me and him have worked hard and tirelessly to give you a snippet, a little bit of everything. So hopefully you all enjoy. Again, these one-shots, we're going to hopefully entertain everyone for about the next hour, 2 hours tops. We're on the clock now, so as you can see, this story takes place in our current timeline for the purposes of how we constructed it. So I would say a perfect place for those that care about the lore. Probably interstitial between like maybe the last 1 or 2 episodes. With that said, we may begin. So our current setting, Terry, with his always available, always busy personal lawyer, Victoria. We see Terry walking into her law firm. This is not the kind of individual you would normally see walking into a law firm. We have the ponytail, a very regal jacket, which was a recent gift after the holidays. More information on that, check out our Christmas special. All the specials pretty much live up to the hype. You know, he's kind of giving off those intimidation lawyers, just watching them go down the aisle, straight to the elevator. As he enters, he's going to the very top floor to talk to someone about something very important. As he's waiting in the elevator, he receives a text message. He ignores it. Elevator doors open. There is a very astute lawyer, hard at work, eyes locked in on her screen, typing away, drafting some finishing touches on a draft for a client who has just arrived. As Terry walks and helps himself to some of the refreshments, always available in her office. Clickety clack of the keyboard can be heard. Terry, right on time, never early. Glad you're here.
Yes. We've made the preparations.
Yes, I was just finishing some work. Let me go ahead and show you. And she pushes her seat back. She grabs a vanilla folder and she's making sure she's getting some documents that are being printed off of her desk. She slides them into the folder, closes it, and kind of walks over to you, sitting on like one of her little, like the couch And she drops the folder in your lap. And she says, there we go. Take a look. Of course, as any lawyer will tell you, make sure everything is to your specifications. But just so you know, it should be. But again, as your lawyer, any good lawyer would say, make sure you read the fine print. And she kind of helps herself to a little bottle of scotch that she has there as you start perusing some of the documentation.
And you remembered to include the overseas accounts, offshore assets as well.
Of course, of course. And she goes right up to her desk. She pulls out another manila folder. And she goes, of course, of course. I made sure to have those to make sure to maximize revenue and to avoid some of the taxation laws. I have these readied up for you, should you choose to go that route, of course. And again, you have a second folder of documentation to overlook before anything is proceeding to the next legal step. She lets you peruse as again she starts sipping a bit of her scotch.
Good. And when the time comes, I expect you to oversee all of this. Make sure it's carried out.
Of course, everything to your specifications. It's just like we talked. Although you haven't had really anything to change. But of course, we still are in the territory where any changes you would like to make you're free to do so. So again, as your lawyer, is there anything I should be made aware of? Any future beneficiaries? Or will it still just be you?
Good. Well, no, everything's in order, but add one tiny stipulation.
As she kind of stirs her drink, puts it down, and takes out a pin from one of her coat pockets. Has a little bit of scratch paper. Okay. And that would be?
Should anything happen to me, or should I disappear for longer than, let's say, 3 months? 90 days to be exact.
Okay, 90 days.
Then everything transfers to Tara.
Excellent, okay.
She would essentially replace me for all legal purposes. And like I said, I expect you to oversee everything and fill her in as she wouldn't be aware of anything. So I expect you to essentially hold her hand throughout the entire process and be her lawyer as you have been mine.
Of course, of course. I wouldn't think it any other way. And everything you've said, she kind of writes it down. She's already beginning to like process the different documentation, everything she would need to add before everything gets finalized. And she starts walking back to her desk. She's like, well, I should be able to have these taken care of within, say, the next hour. So if you don't mind waiting, you're free to stay here. If you have somewhere to be, you can also leave and I can update you on that. But again, as her clock says, it's already 5 in the afternoon. So hence why she got her glass of scotch. Just like, actually, Deborah, and she kind of like buzzes in her assistant. I'm actually going to be hanging out with the clients, but I have some last minute adjustments I need made. And I trust you to take care of these. They're simple enough. You should be able to handle them. And then her double, the classic lawyer double doors kind of swing open. And she's like, okay, oh. And then she's like, already kind of like, Deborah. She's like close to retirement age, 60, 70. Think like that wholesome grandma. She's got the Coke bottle for glasses. You can practically see into the future. Oh, Terry's back. I didn't even hear you come in. That's like, wow, you're looking very snazzy. Finally, you've changed your attire.
Yes, thought it was time.
She's like, well, stand up. Let me get a good look at you as she's getting the paperwork from Victoria. I assume Terry just does like a 180, kind of just like,
Yeah. I'll just like walk nonchalantly across the room to go also grab a drink.
She's like, wow, that's fancy. She's like, ooh. And she, without skipping a beat, goes up to you and like kind of feels like, wow, what is this material? I've never felt something so soft. And like, and it feels so durable. Wow. Something better than cashmere?
Yeah, it was a gift. Not entirely sure myself.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. You're Terry after all. Like, oh, look at me. I didn't mean to intrude, but I'll get this paperwork taken care of and I'll be back. You too. enjoy your hangout. And she kind of gets the folders and she walks back out the door that she came in through. So as you're sitting down, Victoria kind of she just bluntly asks you, it's like, to be honest, I wasn't expecting another beneficiary coming from you. I've never really known you to have anyone of any importance. Don't get me wrong. I'm not assuming that you've never had anybody, but for as long as I've known you, at least, I didn't know you had someone that important in your life.
I don't.
Kind of like you hear the. Well, very interesting. You're a very interesting man. I'm sure anyone who's lucky enough to really get to know you can vouch for that. As in your mind, we kind of start recollecting certain things, flashes, certain nights, friends that strangely don't line up with the other Power Rangers also on the team. Faces that haven't been heard of or talked about for quite some time. You start kind of getting a little nostalgic, and that takes us back into a flashback. Yesteryear, a time before the Power Rangers made their appearance. Teenagers with attitude were chosen, friendships were forged, journeys were made, a mission was set forth. We see you training in a dojo, but it's not just you. There's actually a few other trainees, equals, friends amongst you. We kind of see them almost like shadows come into the forefront as your memory becomes less hazy and more in focus. We see one individual, a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, and we see groups of people sparring amongst one another. We see a dojo in pristine condition, practically its prime. We see one such individual just arriving, changing into uniform, getting ready to step onto the mat in full gi. We see some other individuals already in a sparring session. Kicks are flying, blocks are being had, kicks, punches, rolls, different attempts at grabs, arm bars, suplexes. We see Terry sparring with the only girl present, and we see you with a smile on your face, a grin, going in for the old relentless blows, just coming in like a whirlwind. Dare I say, the fists of fury. This girl, surprisingly, keeping up with you. Parrying, punch, hook, uppercut, going for a sweep. You immediately jump back out of range, goes in for a charge, attempts to suplex you, grabs hold of you. Of course, being as the one who taught her how to suplex, you already have your arms in a breakaway motion to get out of the hold. Going into a sweep of the leg. She falls, hits the mat. Everyone stops and turns and is focused on you. She immediately goes into a hip up and jumps straight to her feet. She's like, again, it's not over yet. To which you reply,
All right, but you're not gonna get me again with the leg sweep.
like, that's all right. That was just my opener. I knew it wouldn't work. Of course, testing the waters. But I have to admit, you're pretty agile today. Are you quick enough for this? It immediately tries to go in for a shoulder tackle to try to knock you off momentum.
I'm just gonna proceed to hug her.
Once you have her in the professional hug, they're like, "All right, you two, you can stop already." The eldest martial artist in the room, Roberto, dusts off his hands. He's like, "All right, you all did excellent today. Let's line up, you guys, in formation." Everyone lines up. The one individual, Engi, joins the rest of the five on the mat. It's all right. Here we go. Raiden, I got some notes for you. That kick you threw was pretty decent. I can tell you've been working on it, but you could still work on it further. So I'm going to see you over here, and we're going to try to break some boards. We want to make your leg as strong as we possibly can. And he's like, of course. Roberto continues walking down the line. Kane. Yes. Go ahead. Try to strike me as hard as you can. He's like, all right. And he takes a step back to kind of like prepare his form. He's like, no, wrong. I want you to stand as you are. Hit me at this close distance. 1-inch punch. He immediately prepares his fingertips at the chest of Roberto. He begins to take a stance. I am ready. And he closes his fist. And the force hits Roberto. Not enough to knock him back, but enough for him to feel a punch. All right, a lot better. You're improving. Again, we have to work on you snapping. Remember, it's got to be like a turbine. You just have to go all in. One fluid motion. You can't think about it too much. You just have to let it happen. But that was very good. Of course. Thank you. I'm going to be working on it. Roberto then makes his way to Tara and Terry. Now you two. No notes. In fact, you all could learn a thing or two from these two. You've come a long way since you first joined Pit Viper Kai. And I'm glad to see that you still have much more to learn. Terry, of course, your agility, your ferocity on the mat, those punches. You got to be careful, though. What are you going to do when you exhaust yourself? You always got to know when to hold back, when to fight. Timing is what you need to work on. Tara, I think we all can say your temper. You sometimes let it get the better of you. What you should master is control of your emotions. You don't want to succumb to your anger. You want to learn to use it, to channel it. And she kind of does like the blow some of her hair out of her face. Yeah, I know. I'll work on it. Of course, you all will. And then he finally goes over to Neville, the newest member. All right, Neville, you have the least amount of time here, the least amount of training under your belt, but you show a lot of commitment. Today, you will be sparring with me. He's like, yes, of course. I'm ready. Excellent. Let's all take a quick 5-minute break before we get back into our routines. And as everyone's, getting a drink of water, stretching, the doors of the dojo open. A bell rings. And 2, let's just say unsavory individuals walk into the dojo. Well. We got the Pit Vipers. Everyone's attention immediately is focused on this very well-dressed individual. Shades, gloves, suit and tie, fedora. This very beautiful, curvaceous woman at his side. Blonde hair, also in shades. Roberto, have you given it any reconsider to the offer I made you and your Pit Vipers? Before answering, he gives a stern look to the rest of the Pit Vipers. Neville, Raiden, Kane, Tara, Terry. And he immediately puts himself between these unsavory characters and the students. Yes, I have. In fact, we all have. Right, guys? And he kind of looks over his shoulders to look at everyone in unison. I'm afraid our answer still stands. We're not changing our minds. We're not going to work for you. Huh. Really? I thought that last offer I made would have surely changed everyone's minds. And he kind of tries to look past Roberto. Robert, if you know him. Anyone else here? Does he speak for all of you? He kind of initially looks at Terry. You seem to show some promise, kid. How'd you like a shot at a nice stable life? Working for me.
Do yourself a favor and never darken our doorway again. This time, you'll be allowed to walk out. Next time, I might not be having such a good day.
Kane and Raiden, they just like, what he said. They start cracking their knuckles. The woman is like, I told you he was a firecracker, that one. She starts getting a little closer, noticing the musculature of Terry. The sweat dropping down his brow. His open gi, toned physique, lowers her glasses. Oh yeah. I know trouble right away. Terry, was it?
Yeah. Where are you supposed to be?
Instantly, she laughs. She's like, "Oh yeah, I like this one." Well, if you would have played your cards a little bit better, you would have been looking at a future boss, one that takes care of her clients. And she immediately starts going over back to where she previously was standing. The man begins to talk again. Well, can't say that I didn't try. Your reputation, of course, speaks for itself. You know, sooner or later, things happen to people that don't take up my offer. Roberto kind of clenches his fist. It doesn't immediately get into his face, but he closes the gap a little bit. Don't worry. I think us pit vipers are going to be perfectly fine. We're all more than capable of taking care of ourselves. Yeah. Of course, of course. I didn't mean any ill will. I'm just saying. Everyone's luck runs out eventually. Well, I don't want to stop whatever it is you was doing, so me and my wife will be on our way out. And again, the offer still stands, should you change your mind. Come on, dear. I'll buy you something pretty. Let's get out of here. And they immediately start walking out of the dojo, with the woman lowering her glasses and again locking eyes with Terry, pantomiming a kiss and an eye wink. Call me. They both leave. The bell of the door immediately goes off again. The tension drops. A sigh of relief is had by Neville. Everyone else is like, oh man, Terry. I've never heard anything more badass in my entire life, dude. And they immediately start going in and like patting you on the shoulder, high fives. Damn, man. All right, we all gotta step up our game. Roberto wasn't joking. It's like, yeah, the only way to get on his level is to continue your training. Break is over. And immediately everyone sturdies the fuck up. Neville, over here. Right. And he starts immediately kind of like power walking over to Roberto for some one-on-one sparring. Some time passes. After a couple of hours, everyone going through routines, rotating partners, working on different techniques. The sun begins to go down. It's now much later in the evening. Everyone's on the map kind of just relaxing before everyone parts ways to do whatever it is they do at the end of their day. Neville's like, okay, guys, I'm just going to go out and say it, but after a day like today, we all need to celebrate. I mean, come on. Am I wrong? Kane, Raiden, Roberto, they're like, you know what? Hell, even Neville's right every once in a while. I think we made our point perfectly clear with the organization. We can't be bought. We stood our ground. Hell, I think he's right. We should celebrate. What do you got planned? What do you have in mind, Neville? Okay, hear me out. There's this restaurant I've been wanting to check out. They got everything. Great food, private rooms, karaoke, great drinks. Come on. Who could say no to that? Tara immediately interjects. It's like, well, the reason you're at the level you are is because you don't have the discipline for what's required to be at Roberto's level. Everyone kind of hears like the oh going up in their mind. But nobody says it, but it can be heard through the ether. I'll say it. Out of all of us, you're the one that's furthest behind. Sure, you're good, but you have a lot of ground to cover if you want to hold up everything that Pit Viper Kai stands for. I'm going to keep training. You guys want to go, y'all can go. Don't let me take away the celebration. Everyone's kind of looking at Terry like, are you in? Are you out?
Come on, we can't have karaoke without you. To miss your singing voice?
Just like, God damn it. You know I can't say no to you.
It's a Friday.
Everyone's like immediately, come on. When has Terry ever been wrong? Come on. God damn it, you guys.
It's like, don't ask her that. She can name at least 20 off the top of her head.
Everyone starts laughing in the dojo. Even Roberto's like, come on, Tara. Even Terry he knows when we're rewarded something today. I'm proud of every one of you, and I would really like you to be there. All right, fine. I'll join you guys. Neville's like, all right, perfect. All right, I'm gonna handle the reservation. I'll get everything squared away. Yeah, the place I have in mind, a little bit upscale, so we're definitely gonna have to change. If you got anything, a little bit more than just a gi, I would highly suggest you change into that. But yeah, I'll send everyone the directions, and we should all meet there around. Let's see, it's already 8. In the next hour. All right. Roberto kind of taps Neville on his shoulder. Thank you for taking the initiative on that. Tomorrow we start applying that to your martial arts. Yeah, of course, of course. All right then, everybody. Dismissed. Everyone lines up at the mat for a bow. Everyone bows to Robert. Robert bows back. All right. We'll meet up at the restaurant in an hour. And one after the other. The door opens. The bell goes off. Kane, Raiden, Roberto, Neville, Tara, and Terry all leave the Pit Viper Kai dojo. We next see them at the restaurant. Neville, being the one to handle the reservation, is the first to get there. Robert, soon following. Kane, Raiden, and Tara all make their way one after the other. Terry, not there yet. Very joyous. The vibe, uplifting. Drinks already at the table. Platters of food on their way. Everyone rejoicing, recounting different moments of the day, different things that have led up to the organization approaching Pit Viper Kai. Everyone starts mentioning Terry. Raiden kind of, he addresses the group as like, he is coming, right? I mean, he's not that late, but he said he was going to be here. Has anyone heard anything? Roberto checks the Pit Viper group chat. He hasn't said anything. He did say he was on his way, though. I was like, it's Terry. You know him. He can't help but be fashionably late sometimes. A grin on her face. As she's saying that, a huge platter of golden tiger rolls makes its way to the table. Oh man, he's gonna be so mad that he missed out on this. When Terry makes his way into the restaurant, towards the group's table, unbeknownst to the rest of the group. Terry, how do you make your entrance for the rest of the Pit Viper?
I'm gonna walk up behind Tara and just cover her eye.
She has like her mouth full, just like 2 golden tiger rolls. Oh, come on, man. It's very Terry. She kind of like does like a power chew, like swallows the tiger whole, and immediately like, shoves the hands away. And I was like, told you guys he'd be here. Here. And she pulls out the chair next to her. Have a seat. You got here just in time. Robert ordered us some drinks, and I took the liberty of holding us the first round of rolls. Everyone's like, yeah, start digging in. People are like, they're doing the Dragon Ball Z, saying, chowing down. Everyone knows Pit Vipers have the Morbius diet. They say food, they eat the food. They're like chowing down. The waiter can't like barely keep up with the amount of food. Tara's like, she slams her fist onto the table. We're gonna need another round. Exact order. Sorry. Yeah, we're a little bit backed up. We'll get your order as soon as we can. That's what you said 2 orders ago. My sincerest apologies. We'll get right on that. Everyone's kind of like full comfort, just kind of like sinking into the chairs. Raiden's like, hey, did y'all hear about the blood moon that's supposed to happen this month?
Blood moon? What, did Roberto finally find a way to beat up the moon?
Kane's like, oh. No, man, for reals, it's a blood moon. It's like, seriously, y'all never heard of the blood moon? Tara's like, let me take a guess. Is it is it the aftermath of what he said? Ha ha ha. No, the moon's actually supposed to like turn blood red. You've never seen a blood moon before. As another platter of like golden tiger rolls comes to the table, one of the servers is like, yeah, the blood moon, yes. He's right. That is supposed to happen at the end of the month. And then he kind of goes talking about like, it's a sign. Some cultures view it as like something big happens every time there's a blood moon. Certain occurrences, civilizations known throughout the world. Huh? He's like, yeah. Raiden's like, I'm just gonna nod at what you said, and then he starts chowing down on more golden tiger rolls. Neville's like, yeah, man, it's true. All throughout history, there have been very big occurrences recorded around the appearances of blood moons. And then he starts talking about things, but everyone's ignoring him, just focused on the food. They're like, blood moon, yeah. People have died, yeah. You don't say. Power move, yeah. It's like in through the chatter, other tables chattering. That's like, snippets. They trust that he knows what he's talking about. It's like, yeah, things happen around the blood moon. Got it.
Oh, sounds kind of cool. It's like, I don't know. Depending on what day it is. Tara, you want to go see it?
Actually, like, she's kind of doing like the whole anime, like a golden tiger roll. She maybe had like one too many. That's like, she's trying to like unhinge her jaw to like let it go down. She's like pounding her chest. It's like, yeah. I mean, if you're offering, sounds cool. She does a little smile. Takes a little sip of her drink. It's like, yeah. Roberto's like, we should all check it out. Could be a good omen for the Pit Vipers. I know I've talked to you all about onboarding some more students. Try to, expand Pit Viper Kai. And he's like, yeah, we need to think of like a tagline, a slogan for like a Pit Viper Rush event or something. He's like, whoa. I didn't say we're going to let everybody in. But yeah, I like your thinking. We'll workshop it. The night's still young. Neville's like, yeah. Definitely going to be room for more students in Pit Viper Kai. Hell, even I could help with that. It's like, all right, new guy. There we go. So again, after a few more rounds, different rolls, different orders of food, Neville's like, all right, guys, here we go. The piece de resistance. Everyone to please follow me. And he kind of like pulls out his chair. He stands up and he starts working like around the perimeter of the restaurant. And he's like, and with a few connections I have, I got us a private room. And the rest of the Pit Vipers follow. And he leads them to this room. It's got these giant mirrors. It's like a cylindrical dome. Seats everywhere. There's like a fire pit in the center. Loudspeakers, microphones, and a projector. And he's like, karaoke! Yeah! And he starts running over to grab the microphones and bring them like at one of the little stations where everyone's at. He's like, all right, taking requests. He's like, all right, come on, Kane, Raiden, us three. We're going to do kung fu fighting. Robert kind of takes a seat. It's like, you guys enjoy. Karaoke's not my thing, but watching you guys do it, that's all I need. They start singing kung fu fighting. Roberto kind of sits with Terry and Tara. Roberto kind of has like a side conversation. He's like, well, I've been meaning to talk to you two. But, as you know, it's no joke when I say you two are at the top of the class. Of the students I've trained, I've seen you two take the training to heart. And you've grown immensely from it. And you still have such a large capacity to grow still. I'm proud of both of you. You really do imbue, you stand for, and you realize the Pit Viper Kai spirit. So I got a shot! And then the song from Kung Fu Fighting starts turning into shot, shots. Everybody. Roberto gets the tray and he hands everyone a shot. Terry, Tara, Kane, Raiden, Neville himself. And he's like, a toast. Everyone kind of stands up and they put their glasses forward. To Pit Viper Kai, to success, to our futures, and to everything we do. I'm proud of each and every one of you. Thank you for being my students. The glasses all clink. Neville puts on Brass Monkey. You start hearing like the dun, dun, dun. Brass Monkey. That funky monkey. Brass Monkey. And it goes, he skips to the part where it's like, tilt your head back and finish the cup. Everyone takes their shots. The rest of the evening continues. The Pit Vipers are having, dare I say, the time of their life. And I'm not just saying that because Terry and Tara sang that. Everyone was definitely living in the moment, appreciating everyone who was present, and being thankful for the road they've been on, everything they've accomplished, and everything they look to accomplish in the future. Roberto kind of starts to let out a yawn. Oh man, training you guys really takes it out of me. How's everyone else feeling? Kane and Raiden are like, oh, hold on. Neville, how much longer do we have? It's like, well, I am a student. I don't get paid to be a Pit Viper Kai, so I could only rent the room for about another 30 minutes. We already rented it for like an hour and a half. Right. 30 more minutes. It's like, I wasn't offering you guys, but sure, 30 more minutes. And he goes to put his parents' credit card back on the front desk. Final song of the night passes. Neville's like, all right, guys, I'm pretty tapped out. I don't know how I'm going to explain this $600 charge to my parents. But hey, Pit Vipers, right? I'll think of something. It's like, yeah, that was $600 worth it. Raiden kind of like, he has like the Saiyan belly right now. Oh, yeah. I could go for some more training. Starts throwing out some jabs. Does some more footwork. Kind of loses his balance though because of the, I won't say copious amounts, but definitely wasn't water they were drinking to hydrate. It's like, yeah. Save it for tomorrow. We could all use some rest. Right. Well, Pit Vipers, let's head out.
I think we all lost the ability to train about 2 sojus ago.
Sarah's like, speak for yourself. And she's like, kind of flustered, her face a little blush. Tries to go and suplex you. Roberto's like, stop. Save it for tomorrow. We all need to rest up. Tara. What are we going to do with you?
Alright, but you still gotta teach me that spinning back kick tomorrow.
Oh, of course. Everyone laughs. They kind of get their, their belongings. They all exit the restaurant, walk into the city streets of Angel Grove. They make their way past the Pit Viper Kai dojo towards the back streets. Coincidentally, everyone doesn't live that far away from each other. You're more or less in the same neighborhood, so it's kind of like once the first person gets home, it's like, it's like another couple blocks, or if not down the same street, to the next member of Pit Viper Kai, so on and so forth. Everyone makes their way down the streets until you make it to a very peculiar street. As the Pit Vipers make it to the intersection, they come across a familiar face. At the end of the street, the man from earlier is waiting for them. Hey, what a coincidence. I'd run into the Pit Vipers. Again, Roberto, being the leader, steps forward and puts himself in front of his students. It's like, hey, if this is some kind of last minute and renegotiation of some kind, my word's final. We're not for sale. None of my students are for sale. We will never, ever work for you. If you want control of these streets, you're going to have to go to somebody else. Just know, you're going to have a hard time doing it. You know what, Roberto? I believe you. Except on one thing. And as he sets up, you can hear footsteps. Lots of footsteps from different directions coming up against the Pit Vipers. It seems that an entire gang has enclosed the Pit Vipers on both ends of the street. All dressed in the same black suits, white shirts, ties, some in top hats. All of these individuals can be seen carrying chains, bats, different firearms, brass knuckles. Like I said, you probably should have took me up on my offer when I made it to you. You forced my hand. If the Pit Vipers won't work for me, they're not going to work for anybody. Roberto says, all right, finally we agree on something. We won't be working for anybody except ourselves. Pit Vipers! And as he calls out, everyone immediately starts getting into fighting stances. Except for one Pit Viper. Everyone's eyes focus on Neville as he begins to join the ranks of these goons. He makes his way towards the back. He gets handed a baseball bat. Everyone's kind of, I wouldn't say full out surprised, but in shock about what's happening. Roberto calls out to Neville. Neville, what are you doing? I'm doing what you should have done. What we all should have done. I took him up on his offer. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm more than okay with my life changing for the better if I gotta get my hands dirty. I mean, we were already getting our hands dirty, and what did we have to show for it? Camaraderie? A dojo? Hell, with his support, we could have dozens of dojos. It's not too late, you know. We could still be Pit Viper. We'll be in charge. We just have to answer to him from time to time. We see Terry kind of with a clenched fist. You have anything to say to Neville, who seems to have just betrayed everybody? You can't help but notice Tara got both of her hands. It looks like she's as angry as you are. She's 10 times more angry. And it looks like you're about to say something, but she beats you to it. She screams out at the top of her lungs, "You bastard, Neville!" Just like I thought. You didn't have what it takes to be Pit Viper Kai. You were never Pit Viper Kai. And she's yelling. And it looks like she's going to start darting to get through the sea of these gangsters to get right to him. Harry, you're quick enough to see. Her legs kind of start to make like a running position. You do anything to stop her?
Yeah, I'm gonna catch her. Like, leave him. If he wants to get on his knees from time to time, he's free to do so.
Kane, on the opposite side of you, also helps. He's like, yeah, there's one thing Pit Vipers never do. We don't beg. We don't betray one another. That's a bond for life. Roberto then says, all right, if this is the way it has to be. And he starts leading the charge, and he immediately begins combat with some of these gang members. He opens up with a charging tackle, catching some of like the front line off guard. They're I want to say cartoonish, outlandish numbers. They weren't expecting one man to make a stand, but here it is. There he goes. He immediately knocks 3 of them to the ground and immediately starts to knock one out after the other with single punches in rapid succession. Kane and Raiden begin to charge on opposite ends to the sides of Roberto. Raiden goes in with a jumping, leaping kick, and he kicks a member of the gang back into his crowd of his fellow gang members. He manages to grab hold of one of the bats and immediately hurls it as it ricochets off a gang member's head, hits another gang member, starts going, attacking with elbows, jumping tackles. Same could be said for Raiden. Tara, not skipping a beat, immediately after her fellow Pit Vipers, goes into this mosh pit of mayhem. Some of the gangsters try to attack her with the chains. She easily grabs them, twirls them around. One of her arms reels in one of the mobsters and starts beating him with his own brass knuckles right into a pulp, blood splattering everywhere. Terry, how do you proceed into combat?
Dynamic entry.
Perfect. Just yells it. Going in with a flash kick. I've seen that maneuver. Dynamic entry it is.
How kind of them to bring us weapons.
Tara's like, yeah, these brass knuckles are great. As she's still like pummeling the same guy. He's like completely unconscious. Yeah. You hear Kane, it's like, yeah, it's like they don't even know how to use them. As he's like swinging the bat like it's like a, almost like it's a staff, just hitting as many people in a, circular radius as he can. Roberto, still trying to make his way to Neville. More mobsters start pouring in, coming from around the corners. I would say replacing any members that were defeated by Pit Viper Kai. It's been a 2-to-1 replacement. For every person that falls, another 2 make their way into the alley streets. It's beginning to look like the Pit Vipers might not make it out of this. The sheer amount of opponents has forced Roberto to regroup with the other Pit Viper Kai members. Kane, Raiden, Tara, Terry, all form a circle. All of your backs are to one another, and you're doing what you can to survive at the moment. As more and more people are still flooding the streets. Again, for every person that falls, it looks like 2 more are at the back of this mob, waiting for their turn. Robert takes a glance. He sees everyone fighting, not letting anyone break the circle, but he can also tell that you guys are kind of getting controlled and sandwiched. There's not a whole lot you guys can do. He starts looking at the big picture, thinking things through, running the calculations. He can tell everyone's starting to get exhausted. You're doing what you can, but again, after previously partying, minutes before this brawl broke out, you guys aren't in peak shape or condition right now. There's no telling how much longer anyone, let alone everyone, can keep this up. He remembers Pit Vipers. They stand together, they die together. He looks at Raiden, he looks at Kane over his shoulders, he makes a quick turn, he looks at Terra, he looks at Terry. He breaks the formation of the circle. He immediately looks at Terry and Terra. In an instant, he says as much as he can, as fast as he can. We're not going to survive this. You two need to go. You need to make sure Pit Viper Kai doesn't end here tonight. You need to continue living. Myself, Kane, and Raiden are going to do what we can to give you an opening. This is going to be your only chance to take it, and you need to take it. And then he kind of shoves both of you with a push. Terra, who's furious, and he yells, "Go!" And then he immediately goes into a full-on assault. He stops holding back. If there was any restraint, he immediately just starts working his way through the mob. Raiden and Kane doing what they can to protect him. Clearly legendary. Terra catches herself. He yells, "I'm staying! Pit Vipers stand together, they die together!" And she attempts to run back into the fray. Terry, how do you stop her?
I'm gonna pick her up and run.
You immediately pick her up, toss her on your shoulder, and you start running. More and more of the mob surround Raiden, Kanan, and Roberto. You can barely see any of them as you make your way away and around the corner, still running. Is there anything you do while you're running? Terra kicking and trying to elbow you to drop her, but you're pretty much just taking the blows and you're persevering. Are you looking for some sort of safe haven, checking any doors, something, anywhere you can go in?
Yeah, not too familiar with the area, so I'm just kind of looking for the first opening to duck into.
Gotcha. Yeah, you do what you can, having a tiny but fierce woman fight you at every single moment of you running down this street. As you said, checking any doors, any windows, looking for some place that you can get into, the two of you. Lucky enough, you come across such a place. You're able to kick through a door and you find this, it kind of seems like it's an empty, abandoned warehouse. You shut the door behind you as you get in. You don't hear any footsteps. You take the time to let Terra down off your shoulder onto the ground. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break right here before we continue with this one shot. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, everybody. We're about halfway done with the one shot. We have a little more in store. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for bearing with us for a small break. We're ready to continue the one shot. Terra immediately takes a breath. You can tell she's very winded. She wasted a lot of energy just trying to fight you while you carried her down those modest 40 blocks. Just like at a constant 15 miles per hour, by the way. Non-stop, no breaks. He didn't stop when he was tired. He stopped when he found the warehouse. She takes her fists and she pounds it into the ground. Unable to spring up on her feet, she has to use her hands to propel herself upwards. She looks at Terry, who's looking at her, and immediately starts to attack you. But she's way past her limits. She wasn't holding back at all in the brawl. Earlier in the day, what would have definitely injured Terry is barely even leaving any impact. She starts hitting you in your chest, body blows. Perfect form, just no energy behind it. She's going as fast as she can, which is hardly fast at all. She starts yelling at you, "Why did you do that? Why did you do that?" Still not letting up, just trying to hit you, throwing punches to no avail. They're definitely making contact with you. There's, like I said, there's nothing behind them. It's as if getting punched by a baby. She's not letting up. A couple moments passed. You still haven't said anything.
We're exhausted. There's nothing we could do. I would have loved to stay back there with the rest of them, but I couldn't bear to let you die with us.
She just keeps thinking about Roberto and how Pit Viper Kai stands together. We die together. We let them die. And again, just more of the baby pummeling.
There's nothing we could do. What you can do now is live on. Don't let their sacrifice be for nothing.
She's kind of like really just pushed past her limits, just physically, emotionally. She can't get the image out of her head. Kane, Roberto, and Raiden, paying the ultimate sacrifice, laying their lives down on the line so that you two can live. It's not right. It's just not right. And again, some more just baby punches. Tries to give you a kick. Can like barely get like a perfect side kick. It's like more like a kick that was supposed to be at your waist. Ends up hitting you in like in your shins. She's like really exhausted. She's like just completely just, exhaling. She can't even catch her own breath. She hits a breaking point. He's like, I can't. Terry, you've done a lot of things before. But this, making that decision for me, she like calms down just enough to make these next words like perfectly clear. I can't even look at you right now. And she like turns and gives you the cold shoulder. There's some moments. She's coming to terms with the fact that she's still alive. 3 of her best friends aren't. And there's one other who used to be a friend, who also still is. She kind of lets her words echo through the warehouse. She doesn't shout. She's not trying to put both of you in any further danger for the rest of the night. But she lets out a sigh. She's like, fine, you win. But that's it. This is done. I'm out of this. I want nothing more to do with you or Pit Viper Kai. And again, she doesn't turn to face you. She just reaches for the door that you kicked in. She opens it and she pushes it out. And she looks down on the alleyway that you were running from to see if the coast is clear. The last thing she says to you is, it's clear. You better get out of here while you still can. And then she begins to muster up a sprint, and you can hear her continue to run down the street as the door swings back closed, leaving you alone and the warehouse with your thoughts, your memories, and anything you might be feeling from the events that just transpired. What's kind of going through Terry's mind right now after everything that's happened?
Finding Neville.
Yes, finding Neville. The one Pit Viper that seems to have single-handedly led to them being erased. At the height of their power, it seems as though one has single-handedly ended them. With Neville on your mind, you make your way out of the warehouse. You make it back home, safe for the night, safe for the next day, the next night after that, and so on and so forth. Still alive. As several days begin to pass, what's Terry's focus? What is he doing as this time seems to be passing by him?
What was originally pain turned into sheer hatred. Hatred and the desire to kill Neville without any of the other Pit Vipers there or Terra to stop him. Sole focus is to kill Neville.
And so as these days continue to pass and these nights, you're able to tend to any wounds you might have been inflicted with during the fight, and you ready up, channeling this anger into this single point of action. Neville, who's still alive, who's still reaping the rewards for selling everyone out. Word starts to get out that things have changed. The area in which Pit Viper Kai was found begins to dramatically change. People who were under the protection of Pit Viper start being attacked, robbed. No one to defend them. It seems Neville has started making a name for himself. In the eyes of the organization, seeing how Pit Viper Kai has been dealt with, he's been put in charge of the region, and he hasn't been shy about making his presence known. He walks the streets with a group of personal bodyguards. People he used to protect, he now hounds. People he used to fear have gone through a role reversal, and they now fear him. As this time passes, the moon continues to go through its lunar phases. As it was talked about, there's to be a rare blood moon at the end of the month. You take your time, carefully observing Neville, finding out any info about where he's going to be on this final night, what kind of guards he has in his company, where he can best be found. Blood moon has finally arrived. It's the last night of the month. Neville is seen exiting a newfound restaurant he frequents, laughing, with women far, far, far out of his league, laughing at every pathetic joke he tells. Men with glasses and black suits, white shirts, top hats, not too far behind him, his entourage. It seems he's gotten a little cocky. He begins shouting out into the streets about how powerful he is, how lucky this area of Angel Grove is to have someone as merciful as him, watching over them. There's a shadow, an outline of an individual at the end of one of these streets. Neville, not noticing until he walks up, approaches the shadow. The blood moon out is mist. As I said, shadowy figure waiting, alone. Neville comes to a halt. I can't believe it. Terry, You lived? Do you have any response to him calling out your name?
No, I didn't. And neither did you. Terry died that same night along with the other pit vipers. I'm simply a shadow from the past, here to tell you, simply a dead man living on borrowed time.
Did you hear that, you guys? Me, I'm a dead man. He's like in a full belly laugh, knowing full well that he's got his gang members behind him. He's like, oh, Terry, God, I always hated you so much. Coming in so cocky, thinking you can do the impossible. God, do you ever shut up? Well, you're about to be in my past permanently after this. Am I right, boys? And he kind of leans back, signaling his men to start approaching. Got you outnumbered. Let me guess, you're unarmed. Pit Viper all the way. You can't win, Terry. Tell you what, you actually caught me on a good one. And he signals to one of his girls to come off of his arms and his shoulders, just to make your story live up to your name. I'll let you get one hit in before my men kill you and take you out. Unless you think you get 2 hits. You gotta remember, I'm Pit Viper Kai too, and I've watched you train. I know your moves, so I doubt you're even gonna get that. The gang members kind of look at each other as he's saying this, when they all take a step back, giving Neville and Terry the room they need for a fight. You heard him, boys. He's gonna give them the first hit. He takes off his jacket. He tries to limber up, does some stretches. He throws some punches. He's like, believe it or not, I've actually been training. I'm not the same person you thought of. Definitely not weak anymore. And then he starts approaching you.
No, you were never Pit Viper Kai, and you'll always be weak. And you're about to find out that the streets don't respect traitors either.
And then that's it. You've clearly hit his last nerve. And he lets out a guttural. He's like, fuck, I hate you! And he starts charging at you. And seeing as he remembers your dynamic entry, he tries to do his dynamic entry. And then sprints at you and goes into a leaping kick right at you. How do you respond?
I'm gonna catch his kick and just slam him into the ground.
Boss! True to your plan, you slam him head first into the ground. Hits the pavement. Kind of see his eyes immediately just roll back. He's done. The mobsters all look at each other, finish him. They start walking away, leaving you and the unconscious Neville there. Is there anything you do after you threw him to the ground?
Let this be a message to your boss. This is what happens when you cross Pit Viper Kai.
Now all the mobsters start laughing. A lesson. We'll teach you a lesson. Immediately shift direction 180, start walking towards you.
I'm gonna use Neville's body as a weapon, purposely causing more damage to him.
Even more excellent. Perfect. Okay. The first mobster comes to you as you unsheath your Neville. He comes at you with one of those Rambo-looking knives, the one that's just overly serrated, teeth for days. Tries to stab you.
Neville shield.
Goes right into Neville. In fact, not only does it go at Neville, but you swing Neville back towards you, and you grab the knife, ripping it out of Neville's abdomen. How do you respond to this charge of attack?
I'm gonna use Neville's hand to hit him. Try again. Try harder. Keep slapping with Neville's hand.
One of the other mobsters takes out a bat from his coat. And he's like, all right, pull him down, boys, and I'll start swinging. And then they start circling you. Just you, your knife, and your Neville. One of the mobsters rushes in and tries to pin you down to the ground. Almost like a going for a body slam. How do you respond?
I'm slamming him down onto Neville.
Perfect, it happens.
Hoping to break both of them.
Yeah, using some of the mist that's re-entered the street, you kind of disappear so quick they can't tell. Is that him or is that his shadow? Using the elements to your aid. You hear 2 bodies hit the ground. Your quick footsteps, and then silence. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Gotta be around here. Show yourself! How do you respond to them trying to goad you out of hiding?
You can pick him off one by
the shadows as your ally, using the blood moon as your only source of light. You start picking up the monsters one by one. You start hearing chains rattle to the ground. Women screaming, a bat, a gun, body after body after body. Hits pavement. Boom, 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 boom. Quick succession. You finally walk out of the mist. There's only one Axe member conscious. He's terrified. You walk right over and you stop right in front of Neville's body, with him very bruised and battered from having using him to not only attack but defend against attacks. What do you do next?
I guess you were lucky enough to be the messenger. Then with the giant Rambo knife, I'm gonna remove Neville's head and put it right through the top of his skull.
To the horror of the girls who are screaming frightfully guttural yells, the kind of like screams you hear in horror movies. You do as you said. If at any point Neville had a chance, that chance is long, long past. His head, bloody, battered, pierced with the knife. All right, man. All right. The mobster just immediately starts booking it, running. The girl's running in his direction as well. Screaming can be heard all the way down. What's going through your mind having won this battle?
After having killed Neville, still feeling like nothing's changed. I'm even more angry, but no one else to take out that rage. Having no sense of purpose, can kind of wander aimlessly into the night.
Seeing just the sheer carnage one man was able to unleash in Angel Grove in these streets, you disappear. The morning after, the neighborhood is frightened. It makes the news. This completely just disfigured and horrible sight of this person. Everyone all agrees that nobody ever hopes to see this kind of just carnage ever displayed again in Angel Grove. Talks are made. Again, just as weeks prior, positions of power were shifted, they've shifted again. New people are put in charge. Things change slightly for the better. But you've still continued aimlessly walking, wandering for many nights more. You eventually muster enough strength and you go back to the site of the Pit Viper Kai Dojo. What was once a home away from home, a place of great memories, has become anything but. Tattered, burned, graffiti. It's now become derelict, abandoned, a pale imitation of its former glory. You walk through the wide opening where used to be a door, pieces of boards. You walk in and you take a look and you see the ashes of what once was. As you're letting everything soak in, Neville's betrayal, Tara's exit, Roberto, Raiden, and Kane's sacrifice, it leaves you hollow. You have a pretty cool, just wandering beard, by the way. You kind of replay Tara's goodbye, her wish for you to leave her alone as your eyes wander the dojo. You feel a presence enter. Again, you can still see in your own eyes Pit Viper Kai in its glory. Someone comes by and watches you. I kind of expected more from you, kid. Here you are, wasting away though. Just kind of walking. The image fades back to derelict. Broken boards, graffiti on the walls, cut up mat, just the moonlight peering in through some of the small cracks and openings of the windows in the open door. Is there anything you say to this individual?
Yeah, well, you're just another person on the list of people I've disappointed.
Well, here's where you might be right. Or maybe you do something about it. You can't let the Pit Viper's death be for nothing. As she's, again, kind of walking in front of you, making eye contact. You have anything to say to her telling you not to let the Pit Viper's sacrifice be for nothing?
Easy for you to say. You didn't have everything taken from you.
That's where you're wrong, kid. I wasn't always this way. Hell, strangely enough, you reminded me of myself when I was at your age. I fought, maybe even harder, if not as hard as you have. I've made a lot of sacrifices along the way. I've lost people I care about. Take my husband, for instance. I think that makes it my sixth husband to go missing, to have prematurely died, to have vanished, to have left me for somebody else. Resilience, kid. I know you have it. Tell you what, you feel like you can keep fighting? Maybe this will help. And she reaches in her purse, her bag, and she takes something out. Here, take this, and it's a card. And it's a card with an image of a scorpion. On the other side of the image, there's the name of a place and a time. Maybe it's time you put some of those skills in your rage to good use. Go to this location, tell them Marilyn sent you. And then she starts walking for the door. I hope you don't become another man who's just let me down again. Dare to do something different. Best of luck to you, kid. And she kind of like winks at you, blows you a kiss, and then continues walking out. And it's just you, the remains of Pit Viper Kai, and this card you recently got. What's your response, having been asked to dare to do something different and possibly given an opportunity?
Stare at the card. Different. Well, best case scenario, I get put out of my misery. Got nothing to lose, I guess. Guess I'll head over to the address.
And you do. You leave everything else behind. You remember the words that you had said to Neville, a person from his past. Terry is no more. It seems all ties to him have been erased except for one. But with the way things were left, it might as well be 0 anyways. You do follow the directions and you go to the address at the specified time and you make it to this building, also located on the outskirts of Angel Grove. You're asked for who you are, how did you find out about this place, who sent you. You tell them you were given a card and Marilyn sent you. And they're like, oh, Marilyn, well, why didn't you say so? As you hear lock after lock after lock after lock. Deadbolt. The little chain start to be undone. And the door opens and you're welcomed inside. And you see a huge array of people lining up, all dressed in shadowy attire. You instantly think ninja or assassins. They're approaching this podium, this platform. There's a speaker. It's none other than Marilyn herself. All right, recruits. You've been hand-selected from places all over the world to meet here for a specific reason. Your lives are about to change. Should you pass our test that we have, you will be accepted into one of the most powerful organizations not known throughout the world. We control things, people, money, outcomes. You'll be working for a greater cause, for a leader. She's gone by many names. If it is one person, everyone's like, ooh. Tell me more.
We are many. You are but one.
Exactly. I was like, as you mumble that to yourself, we are many names, but you are but one. You're like, yep, called it. We're working for a very powerful individual. She very rarely makes her presence known, but just know she's always listening. She's always watching. She's looking for failure. She's looking for success. Should you have what it takes, maybe one day you can aspire to be on a level equal to her. Till then, you get to work. Everyone's dismissed. And then you see immediately like groups of individuals go into different rooms and they kind of disperse. You eventually get told about what you're entering and what lies in your immediate future, what's being asked of you, what you can do, and sure enough, you're accepted into these ranks. You pass test after test after test, until eventually you're put in charge of a mission. No longer as Terry, but as something different. You see yourself in a reflection, full garb and attire, weapons decked out, armor, equipment, a mask, a cloak, a hood. You strike fear into those who are unlucky enough to come across your path. You're something more. You're asked to liberate a country against a cruel dictator. You eliminate him. There's some corrupt politicians embezzling funds. You're sent to take care of it. You do so with ease. There's a general, gung-ho, starting wars he shouldn't be doing across the world, having negative effects for the organization. You're sent to take him out. You do so by yourself. No help from anyone. None offered, none requested. After each of these missions, you leave something behind. Something that stuck with you. Something that is going to stick with everyone else that sees it. Sort of a calling card. Always at every one of your scenes that you're a part of. A skull with a single blade stabbed through it from the top. A striking reminder of what had happened on a blood moon night long ago. You've made a name for yourself. But this name is no longer Terry. It is something completely different. What is this name?
Wandering, being dead inside, carrying out mission after mission. He's simply become just another phantom blade in the organization.
Correct. This phantom blade has ascended up the ranks. You've clearly made a name for yourself. So much so, you've actually allowed yourself to make one new friend post the Pit Viper incident. this individual has been an ally, somewhat of a, you could say, a war profiteer, but you don't seem to mind it, as the intel the missions he sends you always send you higher and higher up the ranks. Meeting you again in the dead of night on a dark city street, you come across your friend. He chuckles and he's like, ah, good old Phantom Blade. You never drop guard, not even for a second, not even for me, your only friend, as he continues walking closer. And he goes in and he gives you the Predator handshake. I was like, ah, I heard about your last few missions. Tell me, was taking out the dictator actually as easy as everyone says it was?
I make things look easy.
Of course, of course. He's like, yeah, well, as you go into like your, if this were an office setting, this would be like your water cooler talk. He's like, yeah, I've actually gotten into the ranks of this guy called Zed.
Sad. What a dumb name.
Right? You're telling me. But hey, I don't care about his name. I just care about getting paid. So far, it's been worth my while. Yeah, I think we both know how I'm making my money, but you know, let's just say your work kind of has a carryover effect into my paycheck. So it's in my best interest to keep feeding you intel and helping you out. We got a good thing going.
What do you work based on commission?
You would think. I got this gig. I show up. I lead a squadron of these, I don't know, golem looking things. I had to learn their language. That wasn't easy.
They let you be in charge. now I know it's all poor decisions over there.
You know, let's just say I make every fight a party. I get to do my thing, they do your thing. I'm very persuasive on the battlefield. But hear this. I got some news. Turns out there's someone high up, close by. Think of it as a prison break. Someone by the name Rita. Never heard of her, but there's plans set in motion to free her, and our leader is in charge of paving the way, molding Earth in her favor so she can take it over. Some kind of, I don't know, unknown element power source here on Earth. Far more powerful than anything we have at the moment. Even I don't have all the details. But one thing's for sure. Scorpina's been asking about you.
The boss? That's surprising.
Yeah, what you think? You were gonna do all this great work and not be rewarded? I mean, obviously you're rewarded. You're rewarded, aren't you? You're not just doing this for free.
It's like, Jesus, even I'm not that much of a sociopath. Of course I'm getting paid.
Good, all right. You had me going there for a second.
Or am I?
Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, double take. Well, either way, like I said, word's trickling down. Scorpina doesn't just meet anybody. She's been pretty busy, as I said at the moment. A whole releasing of this prisoner, getting things in line, making sure, I don't know, I guess this conquering of Earth. Again, I don't really have all the details, but people tend to chatter, you know. Loose lips sink ships. As long as we've been talking, I know you've been looking for a dream to chase. I just don't know if being number one is your whole end goal. I mean, to be honest, you pretty much accomplished that like day one. Hell, they even show the new recruits now some of your own missions and your private sparring sessions. They literally try to mold people into you.
I knew those cameras weren't there just for show. Bastards.
Can you blame them? It's the organization. They get things done by any means necessary. But yeah, I can put in a good word for you. I've actually met her on one occasion.
We're in a club now.
Oh, she actually as pretty as they say she is.
Oh, incredibly. Not saying you'll ever get the chance, but with my help, hey, anything's possible.
Starting to think you do work for commission.
Hey, I'm completely open about getting paid. But yeah, it's a little bit commission I make on the side. Anyways, I think this could be good. You meet her, she meets you, I introduce you to. Few more missions. Hell, we could definitely have a good thing going. What do you say?
Sure, I guess it'd be kind of cool to meet the boss.
That's the spirit to have. All right. Looks like we have a new goal And he kind of like buddies up with you, grabs you by the shoulder, like has his hand to the moon. That's like, just think of it. Me and Phantom Blade and Scorpina at the top of the organization. Once this Rita gets here, apparently Zed, should everything go according to plan, should also make his appearance. Again, I've been working for him and his creatures. Ugh, I really hate those things. And this suit I have to wear. I pray you never have to see it. But yeah, I think we'll be in a really good position once things go down here. And then like a timer goes off on his watch, and he's like, well, looks like we're back on the job. Anyhow, this was good. We gotta do this more often. And it takes like a break, stretches. It's like, man, being on call 24/7. There's only so many times I can ignore these things. Anyways, I'll like I said, I'll do what I can. I'll prop you up. Definitely get you to the top. Who knows? You might even be a big head one day. All right, well, till the next time we meet. I hate these trips in space. They say the radiation changes your DNA. I think I've actually grown like a foot just transporting.
Yeah, you wish.
Hey, you never know. A man can dream. A man can dream. Your friend, he gives you like one more of the predator arm shake. You both like, clap. Your muscle bulging is like lack of muscle. It's like a drumstick and like a turkey leg. For comparison. It's like, ouch, man, I told you. Take it easy with that. Anyways, I will report back if I got any news. But yeah, hopefully you and Scorpina end up meeting one day. And he starts walking off into the mist. And as that happens, more time passes. You get sent on a very specific mission one day. Your mind races through the details. It was definitely one you weren't fully prepared for, in a sense, but it was one you carried out. And just like before, it changed the trajectory of your life in unforeseen ways. And your flashback brings us back into a lawyer's office. You have a drink back in your hand. Your friend's kind of staring at you. It seems like after all of this time, barely a few moments of like past seconds, really. It's amazing the human mind, what it's capable of. She kind of picks the conversation back up where it was. It's like, yeah, well, important people. Good to know that you have someone that's important. Toast, friends. She kind of tops off your glass. And as you toast, you kind of see like, think of like the ghosts of Christmas past. Your friends kind of come to the forefront of your mind. Pit Viper Kai, Roberto, Raiden, Kane, Tara. You kind of picture them there in the room with you. Laughing, telling jokes, getting serious when it's time for training. You still see them. It's like they're still the same. Time hasn't aged them at all. And they all look at you and they see that like, you're okay. Nothing was in vain. You're still living. Pit Viper Kai is alive. You're keeping it alive. And then they all kind of start with smiles fading away. And where they were, other individuals start coming to the forefront. You see your friends, your ranger friends, Kimberly, Maximus, Juan, and Wall. And you see them kind of like doing similar things, cracking jokes, all pointing fingers at Juan, who's messed up again. The new guy, who's trying his best to live up to the expectations of that the other Rangers have put before him. You hear the voice of Zordon and Alpha not far away, and they all look at you, stern and ready, knowing that whatever's gonna come next, you got. Nothing's gonna stop Terry. And then again, they start to fade out of your view. The last one to fade, Tara. The last way you saw her, turned away, watching her leave out the door. She walks off. She looks for the door. You see her open it. And as she's going through, you swear you see her turn around to look you in the eyes. And then she disappears. What's going through your head at the sight of old friends, current friends, and someone who, for better words, is on the fence of being a friend or remaining a friend?
Well, seems like you're done with work. How about dinner and a drink?
It's like, of course, you must be starving. Reading up those documents I wrote. Yeah, of course. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking steak.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too. And Victoria finishes her glass of scotch, and she's like, all right, well, just give me a few minutes. I'll be ready. And if you know any good spots, you're driving. She gets her laptop, closes it. She puts her lawyer blazer jacket on a coat rack off to the side, and she gets her leather jacket out. She's like, all right, ready for a bike ride. And any final words to that?
You always did have style.
And that's why you're my number one client. To then begin to exit the law firm on your way for steak. And that's how we end your one shot. So nice. We did it. It's done. It took a year and a half. Let me read the chat. We also had let's see, Rambo talking about the beginning. Sorry, I auto chat said the wrong name. Of course, you spell check. Our Red Ranger saying in the chat, he lacks discipline. Now kiss. Guys, I don't think Terry's a good guy. Yes. All fair comments. All fair comments. As we said, Terry's had quite the life. There are those people that are born great. There's those that achieve greatness, and then there's those that have greatness thrust upon them. And I think Terry fits into all three of those categories at different points in his life. So you can hear more about Terry and his adventures with his friends, the Power Rangers, this Sunday on episode, God, where are we at? I think it's episode 25. Oh, cool. Our Red Ranger is saying, meanwhile, Wall is still standing in stasis with an EMP. That's true. Yeah, our Red Ranger is at Angel Grove High School with Terry, holding an EMP, waiting for that thing to go off.
And now you know why Terry parties a lot. Because partying is cheaper than therapy. And more fun.
And more fun. It's the therapy you do with your friends. Yeah. Our Red Ranger is saying, find out Sunday what Wall will do with said EMP. Even I don't know.
Yes. Sunday.
Exactly. Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Me and the Rangers will return, episode 25. It is a pickup after our Valentine's Day special in timeline. So the Rangers had just gotten off of a Valentine's Day 4-part episode. Our holiday specials are some of our best work. I'll just say that. So, really quick, if anyone wants the link, before we close things out, let me go ahead and put those in the chat. There we go. I have those in the chat for everybody. So I have a link to all of the socials, the Discord. That link may or may not work. I haven't gotten any feedback that says it doesn't, but again, just let me know, you guys. Our YouTube channel, I have a bunch of reactions, board game playthroughs, videos of that nature. I have my archive channel. Or all of my variety gameplay gets archived. Feel free to check that out. I've played several games over my 6 years being a streamer. A lot of them pretty cool. I met a lot of really awesome people that have become really, just very appreciated and just hell, even past community members, just core individuals of my life. And I play tabletop RPGs with a lot of them. So feel free to check that out. I also put in a link to my Power Rangers Season 1 RPG series. As I said, we're like 25 episodes in. We still have a lot more left to go. Got a lot of story left to go. So feel free to catch up. That's like, I would think about 100 hours. We're approaching 100 hours worth of content. So again, if you would like to catch up, feel free and click the link to do so. I appreciate everyone who subscribed, who followed. Check out the channel, of course. Ring the notification bell. Let me know what you think of the episodes. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback, and I have for a starting, I don't want to say no-name streamer, but, humble streamer, the feedback has been pretty good, and the viewership has been, more than I could ask for, with limited exposure and very, near practical levels of non-existent publicizing our, word of mouth. I feel pretty good about it. Like I said, still got a lot of episodes left. More one-shots, by the way. Purple Ranger, who recently joined our game, Amy Grayson, her one shot comes up next. But that's definitely going to be next year. Yeah. Otherwise, tomorrow night, Game Awards, I will be streaming it. I'm going to try to see if I can stream it early. It honestly depends on things on my end on the schedule, but I will be streaming it. Very excited about that. Currently playing Destiny 2 Renegades, trying to work towards getting a lightsaber. So expect to see videos and streams on that. And of course, Power Rangers once a month, usually on Sundays. One shots are a little bit different. Those are special. But all in all, great. Great streams. Some of my best streams, dare I say. Otherwise, yeah. I do remember that there was one new follower today. I'm trying to get to my Jade Knight. Thank you, Jade Knight, for following. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the stream. My Power Rangers lore timeline history is, I like to think, pretty creative. Totally different from what the standard or the expectation is. So I appreciate it again. Yeah, that's all I got, you guys. I don't want to stay on too much longer. Abyssal Lich does gotta go. This was a special episode. Like I said, we waited about 1.5 years to do it, but it's done. So I can't wait to get the feedback on that. But I'm gonna let him do any closing comments before we wrap things up. So Abyssal Lich, anything to say to the audience before we close out your episode?
Remember, partying is more fun than therapy.
Right? The Rangers must need a lot of therapy because they be partying. I mean, what? All right, you guys, you heard it there. So see you guys tomorrow for Game Awards. See you guys Sunday for Power Rangers. That's 1:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll see how they close out the end of the year. Our Red Ranger is currently holding an EMP in the parking lot of Angel Grove High. Come find out what he does with it. All right. Till then, huge shout outs, of course. Moderator, Red Ranger, Nothing. Rambo, thank you for the sub. Thank you for hanging out. Jade Knight, thank you again for following. I appreciate it. As I always say, your guys' viewership and support never goes unnoticed or taken for granted. So thank you again for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed the one shot. I'm about to get so many questions from the rest of the Rangers after they watch this. Number one is, I don't think Terry's a good guy. We'll see how that goes. But anyways, it's time for what my number one mod with the dad bod Tim Kara calls the Truman Show outro. So no matter where everyone's watching from, I just want to say I hope you all have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I'm Eagle, the visual culturist. The GM for tonight, Abyssal Lich, is our Black Ranger. You've learned a little bit about his backstory, and we'll see what happens in his future come Sunday. So until then, take care, everyone. All right. Peace.